Marcus Rivera pulled his diving gear from the storage compartment, checking the oxygen levels one final time. The underwater research station hummed quietly around him, its bioluminescent panels casting blue-green shadows across the curved walls. 3 months alone on Aquatica Prime had taught him to appreciate the silence. But tonight something felt different. The proximity alarms had triggered twice in the past hour. Detecting movement near the station's lower docking bay. Probably debris from the recent storm, Marcus told himself, though his instincts suggested otherwise. The ocean currents on this world moved with patterns he was still learning to read. He activated the external cameras, scanning the murky depths beyond the station's lights. The water here was crystal clear during the day, but at night it became an alien realm of shifting shadows and bioluminescent creatures. That's when he saw her. A small figure drifted motionless near the thermal vents, her body caught in the gentle current. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. She looked human at first glance, but the pale blue tint to her skin and the gill slits along her neck marked her as something else entirely. A child no more than 8 years old by human standards. Without hesitation, Marcus sealed his helmet and activated the station's emergency dive protocol. The airlock cycled quickly, expelling him into the warm ocean water. His suit's thrusters carried him toward the unconscious figure with practiced efficiency. The child was barely breathing, her gills fluttering weakly as he gathered her into his arms. Her skin felt cold despite the warm water, and strange markings along her shoulders glowed faintly in the darkness. Marcus had never seen her species before, but that didn't matter. She was hurt and alone. Back inside the station, Marcus worked frantically to save her life. The medical bay's scanners revealed a physiology unlike anything in his databases. Her body processed both oxygen and the mineral-rich water of Aquatica Prime, switching between lungs and gills as needed. Fascinating. But right now his priority was keeping her alive. He placed her in the station's emergency medical pod, adjusting the atmosphere to match the ocean's chemical composition. Her breathing steadied, and color slowly returned to her blue-tinged skin. Marcus found himself holding his breath until her eyes fluttered open. She stared at him with large, silver eyes that seemed to hold depths of intelligence far beyond her apparent age. When she tried to speak, only soft melodic sounds emerged. It's like whale song translated into whispers. "Hey there," Marcus said gently, keeping his voice low and calm. "You're safe now. I'm Marcus." The child tilted her head, studying his face with curious intensity. Then, to his surprise, she spoke in accented but clear English. "Kira," she whispered, touching her chest. "My name, ... Kira." Marcus smiled, relief flooding through him. "Nice to meet you, Kira. Welcome to my home." Growing bonds. 6 weeks had passed since Marcus found Kira drifting in the deep waters, and life at the research station had transformed completely. What once felt like isolation now buzzed with purpose and unexpected joy. Kira had recovered fully, her natural resilience amazing Marcus daily. She moved through the station like she belonged there, her bare feet silent on the metal floors. The child possessed an intuitive understanding of the station's systems that impressed Marcus. When he worked on the hydroponics bay, she watched intently, silver eyes tracking every movement of his hands. "Why do the plants grow toward the light?" Kira asked one morning, her finger tracing the curve of a vine reaching toward the artificial sun panels. "They need light to make food," Marcus explained, showing her how photosynthesis worked. "Just like you need water and nutrients." Kira nodded seriously, then surprised him by adjusting the light's angle to better serve a struggling seedling. She had an instinct for these things that went beyond mere observation. Their daily routines had settled into comfortable patterns. Mornings were for station maintenance, and Kira's lessons in human technology. Afternoons brought exploration of the ocean depths, where Kira's natural swimming abilities left Marcus in awe. She could dive deeper than his equipment safely allowed. Returning with samples of coral and descriptions of creatures he'd never encountered, the deep singers were active today, she reported during one dive, her eyes bright with excitement. They told stories about the old times. Before the Skywalkers came, Marcus didn't fully understand her references to the ocean's inhabitants, but he recorded everything she shared. Her people, whoever they were, clearly had a rich connection to Aquatica Prime's marine ecosystem. In the evenings, they would sit together in the observation dome, watching the bioluminescent displays that painted the water in shifting colors. Kira would hum softly, harmonizing with sounds Marcus couldn't hear. These moments felt precious, like stolen time from a universe that had taken too much already. But Marcus wasn't the only one watching. Kira. Strange shadows had begun appearing at the edge of the station's lights. Movement too purposeful to be random sea life, too distant to identify clearly. The station's sensors detected nothing unusual. But Marcus's instincts warned him they were being observed. Kira noticed too, though she never seemed afraid. Instead, she would position herself at the observation windows. Her small hand pressed against the transparent aluminum as if trying to communicate through touch alone. "Someone you know?" Marcus asked one night, following her gaze into the darkness. Kira was quiet for a long moment. "Maybe," she whispered finally. "I dream of deep voices calling my name, but when I wake, I cannot remember the words." Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ocean's temperature. Whatever Kira's story was, it was far from over. Someone was out there, searching, waiting. The question that kept him awake at night was simple. When they finally revealed themselves, would they come as friend or enemy? For now, he pushed those worries aside and focused on the present. Kira needed stability, care, and the chance to simply be a child. Marcus was determined to give her that, no matter what emerged from the depths. The storm arrived without warning, turning Aquatica Prime's usually calm waters into a churning mass of energy and foam. Marcus had sealed the station's external ports and activated the emergency anchors. But the structure still shook with each massive wave that crashed overhead. Kira pressed herself against the observation dome, watching the chaos with fascination rather than fear. Her gills fluttered slightly, responding to some change in water pressure that Marcus's instruments couldn't detect. "She comes with the storm," Kira whispered, her voice barely audible over the station's groaning hull. "Who comes?" Marcus asked, moving to stand beside her. Before Kira could answer, the proximity alarm screamed. Something large was approaching through the turbulent water, moving with purpose against the chaotic currents. Marcus activated the external cameras, squinting at the displays as lightning illuminated the depths. A figure emerged from the storm's heart, swimming with fluid grace that defied the ocean's violence. As she drew closer, Marcus's breath caught. She was clearly of Kira's species, but where the child was small and delicate. This woman radiated power and ancient wisdom. Her skin held the same blue-silver tone as Kira's, but darker, more complex in its coloring. Long, flowing hair streamed behind her like living seaweed, and her eyes, visible even through the water, glowed with an inner light that seemed to pierce the storm itself. She wore no artificial breathing apparatus, no protective gear. The crushing depths that would kill a human in seconds were simply her natural environment. When she reached the station's main viewing port, she placed both palms against the transparent surface and looked directly at Marcus. The storm calmed instantly. As if her presence commanded the very elements, Marcus activated the communication system with trembling hands. "Can you understand me?" Her voice came through the water like music made tangible, translated by the station's linguistic protocols into accented English. "I understand, surface dweller. I am Naya of the Deep Current tribe. I have come for my daughter." Kira moved to Marcus's side, her small hand slipping into his larger one. "Mama?" she whispered, her voice filled with confusion and longing. Naya's expression softened as she looked at Kira, love and pain warring in her luminous eyes. "My little star, you have grown strong in the shallow waters." "I don't understand," Marcus said, protective instincts flaring. Kira was alone, unconscious. "I found her nearly dead." "Because I placed her there," Naya replied, her honesty cutting through his assumptions. "The deep hunters were coming. Our people scattered to the farthest reaches of the ocean. I could not protect her in the deep places." Sacrifice settled over Marcus like a physical force. This woman had given up her child, trusting the ocean itself to find her sanctuary. You saved her, Naya continued, her gaze meeting his. You gave her what I could not. Safety, knowledge, care. The debt is beyond my ability to repay. Marcus looked down at Kira, seeing his own questions reflected in her silver eyes. What do you want now? Naya was quiet for a long moment. The ocean's gentle currents moving her hair like living art. The deep hunters still search. They will not stop until they find what they seek. Kira cannot return to the depths yet, but her voice faltered slightly. I have nowhere else to go. My pod is scattered, my territory claimed by enemies. I ask not for my daughter back, but for sanctuary beside her. The request hung in the water between them like a bridge waiting to be crossed. Dangerous Revelations 3 days had passed since Naya joined them in the research station. Marcus was still adjusting to her presence. The station's guest quarters had been modified with a specialized water circulation system, allowing Naya to rest in an environment that met her physiological needs. She moved through the station with fluid grace, her presence somehow making the metal corridors feel more alive. When she worked alongside Marcus on routine maintenance, her understanding of the ocean's interaction with their technology proved invaluable. But it was during the quiet evening hours that Marcus found himself most aware of her. The way her hair caught the bioluminescent lighting, how her laugh sounded like distant waves against shore. There was something magnetic about Naya that went beyond mere physical attraction. Kira had initially been shy around her biological mother, but their bond was rebuilding naturally. Marcus often found them communicating in the melodic language of their people, their voices harmonizing in ways that stirred something deep in his chest. That harmony was shattered when the station's long-range sensors detected incoming ships. 5 vessels. Military configuration, Marcus reported, his fingers dancing across the control panels. They're scanning the ocean floor in a grid pattern. Naya moved to the sensor display, her expression darkening as she studied the readings. Vorthok hunters. They have found us. The deep hunters you mentioned, Marcus asked, though he already knew the answer. Worse, the Vorthok serve the hegemony, those who would remake the galaxy in their image. They believe Kira holds the key to controlling our peoples, connection to the life waters of countless worlds. Marcus felt ice form in his veins. What key? What makes Kira special? Naya touched the child's cheek gently, her expression filled with pride and sorrow. She is a depth singer, capable of communing with the living essence of water itself. In the wrong hands, this gift could be weaponized, used to poison entire ocean ecosystems, or extract secrets from worlds across the galaxy. Kira looked up at both adults, her silver eyes wide but unafraid. I can hear the water's songs, she said simply. They tell me about the fish, the plants, the deep places where light has never been. The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. The child he'd come to love as a daughter possessed abilities that made her a target for galactic-scale conflicts. The weight of responsibility felt crushing. We need to run, he said, moving toward the navigation controls. No. Naya's voice carried absolute certainty. Running only delays the inevitable. The Vorthok will never stop hunting her. We must make them understand that taking her would cost more than they're willing to pay. Marcus stared at her. You want to fight 5 military vessels with a research station? Naya smiled, and for the first time Marcus saw the predator beneath her graceful exterior. I want to remind them why the deep current tribes have never been conquered. The ocean itself fights for us, Marcus. And now, thanks to your teaching, we understand your surface technology as well. Outside, the hunter ships drew closer, their scanning beams cutting through the water like invasive fingers. Marcus looked at Kira, then at Naya, and made a decision that would change everything. Tell me what you need, he said. Naya's smile widened, revealing teeth designed for more than just eating plants. First, we prepare the station's defenses. Then, we show them what happens when surface ingenuity meets the fury of the deep. The battle for Kira's freedom was about to begin, and Marcus realized he was ready to fight for this makeshift family he'd never expected to find. Love in the Deep, the first Vorthok ship died in a cascade of electrical fire. Systems overloaded by the modified electromagnetic pulse Marcus had jury-rigged from the station's power core. The remaining 4 vessels scattered, their formation broken by the unexpected resistance that got their attention. Marcus muttered, monitoring the tactical display while Naya coordinated with the ocean's natural inhabitants, through a series of haunting calls that echoed through the station's hull around them. The sea itself had become an ally. Schools of bioluminescent fish formed living screens that confused the hunters' sensors. Massive, tentacled creatures rose from the deep trenches, their movements guided by Naya's songs and Kira's innocent requests for help. "The big swimmers are angry," Kira reported, her small hands pressed against the observation dome. "They say the metal fish smell wrong. Taste of death and fear." Marcus watched in amazement as creatures he'd never seen before answered the call. The ocean around the station became a living weapon, protecting them with the fury of an entire ecosystem. But the Vorthok weren't finished. The remaining ships regrouped, their weapons charging for a coordinated assault that would overwhelm even the sea's defenses. Marcus, Naya said, moving to his side as he worked frantically at the control panels. "If we don't survive this... we will," he interrupted, not looking up from his calculations. "I'm not losing either of you. Not now." Her hand covered his, cool and steady. "You love her, Kira. I can see it in how you look at her, how you've cared for her." Marcus finally met her eyes, seeing his own fears reflected there. "She's the daughter I never thought I'd have. And you, double quotes." He paused, the words catching in his throat. "I know we barely know each other, but these past few days, having you here, I know," Naya whispered, her forehead touching his. "I feel it too. The current that flows between us. It's deeper than the ocean itself." The moment was shattered as weapons fire erupted around the station. Marcus threw himself back into the fight, but something had changed. The desperate efficiency of survival had transformed into something fiercer, the determination to protect not just his life, but his future. Working together, they turned the research station into a fortress. Marcus's engineering expertise combined with Naya's understanding of the ocean's power created defensive systems that shouldn't have been possible. When the Vorthok tried to breach the station's hull, they found themselves facing pressure waves that could crush metal and electrical fields that turned their own. Weapons against them, the battle raged for hours. But gradually, the hunters began to withdraw. Their losses mounted, while the station's defenses held firm. Supported by creatures that seemed to emerge endlessly from the ocean's depths, as the last Vorthok ship limped away into hyperspace, Marcus found himself holding both Naya and Kira close. The 3 of them standing together in the observation dome, as peace returned to the waters around them. "They'll be back," Naya said softly. "Maybe," Marcus replied, his arms tightening around his family. "But next time, we'll be ready, and we'll be together." Kira looked up at both of them with eyes that held wisdom beyond her years. "The deep singers say the water will always protect those who protect it. We are safe here, in the place where sky touches sea." That night, as Kira slept peacefully in her quarters, Marcus and Naya stood together on the station's observation deck. The ocean around them sparkled with bioluminescent displays, a celebration of life that had triumphed over those who would exploit it. When Naya's lips met his, it felt like coming home to a place he'd never known existed. The kiss tasted of salt and starlight, of depths unexplored and futures unlimited. In her arms, Marcus understood that love, like the ocean itself, could be both gentle and fierce. Nurturing and powerful beyond imagination, their family was unconventional, forged by circumstance and choice rather than biology. But as they held each other beneath the alien stars reflected in Aquatica Prime's endless waters, Marcus knew he would spend the rest of his life defending this love that had emerged from the depths to transform everything he thought he knew about home.